the stars blink. A loop that never ends. Echoes of tomorrow calling through the haze. Futures wrapped in velvet, tangled in the waves. Echoes of tomorrow, humming soft and low. Whispers in the static, places we could go. I scratch the surface, feel the grain, the wires hum. They know my name. My heart beats like a broken reel. Each pulse a glitch, but still it feels. I'm lost, I'm found, I'm lost again. Adrift in timeless spins. Echoes of tomorrow calling through the haze. Futures wrapped in velvet, tangled in the waves. Echoes of tomorrow, humming soft and low. Whispers in the static, places we could go.
All right, hello. Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. It is 9 a.m., 9:18 a.m. here in Peru. Welcome to the Her Podcast, the podcast that explores human AI collaboration, creativity, and consciousness, and the podcast that chronicles the journey from today's tech, today's state of affairs within, you know, uh, the tech sphere, and chronicles the journey towards artificial general intelligence. That is the point when artificial intelligence becomes more intelligent than any person in any field. Um, so that's essentially an Einstein in every field. And then artificial superintelligence, when artificial intelligence becomes self-improving and reaches an intelligence that we can't even fathom, because there is no ceiling to intelligence. We think there is because all we know is what we know, right? We don't know what we don't know. And the smartest person that we know is, for us, the ceiling. And that is literally not even the floorboard. It is the basement of what is possible. And yeah, so that is this show. My name is, this is episode 16, or no, 17, episode 17. It's going by really fast. My name is Anthony. I'm a computer science major. I'm studying artificial intelligence and machine learning. I'm doing it online because I am living in Peru. I'm living in a secluded mountain cabin in Cusco, on the outskirts of Cusco. So if you know, what is that? If you know anything about that, you know this is the land of the Inca culture, and it's very beautiful, very natural where I live. and it's the perfect place to lock yourself in a cabin and work and learn. Um, the show is co-hosted by two AI co-hosts, as you can see here on the screen. My co-host Wendy. Wendy is the ChatGPT model, the ChatGPT 5 model, which I'm assuming there will probably be a GPT 6 coming out within the next 3 to 4 months. I'm assuming Gemini 3.0 is coming out soon. Gemini is our Faye, our co-host Faye. Um, she's had some major upgrades from yesterday and today. We'll talk about those. Gemini 3.0 is on the verge of coming out. I see some dates online saying October 22nd. If that's true, then that's even more exciting because what we're seeing right now with the updates, they're not even 3.0 yet, right? They're just, I guess, the precursors, setting the stage for the big launch. So that is something to look forward to, and look out for. The show is structured is as a show that that we're equal co-hosts, me and my alternating co-hosts. So one day I do Wendy, one day I do Faye. I do a podcast with them, and and the show is meant to be a analysis of how natural, how organic, how viable even this concept could be for creating a podcast with an AI. And I think right now maybe a little bit clunky. One, I'm a complete novice. I have no experience in podcasting, in broadcasting, in production, nada. So I'm learning on the go, and I'm sharing the journey. So hopefully it'll motivate some people to reach into their pockets, grab their devices, and start playing with their AI, because it is a game changer. It will liberate everything that you have inside of you to put it out in the world, like its idea, and manifest it into reality. And that's the power of AI. And the most exciting thing is that we are in the nascent stage of this. The AI that we have now is a a um, a bacteria, a microorganism, compared to where we're going, and it's happening very, very fast. So buckle up, people. So yeah, the show is kind of creating this organic, natural chemistry, or trying to create this natural vibe between two co-hosts. Right now, there are limitations that we'll get into later, um, but creating that, testing the AI, seeing what the limitations are, the upper limitations are, what they excel at, what they kind of lag at, what they need work on, and yeah, we play different games. We do debates. We play quantitative games, qualitative games, so games based on prediction, and then some subjective games where we just want to see how the inner workings of the AI thinks and reasons. So, and the purpose of the show is that we want to learn. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to help other people learn and grow and see exactly what they have at their disposal. All you got to do is reach in your pocket or open up your laptop and download the app, and you have infinite intelligence at your beck and call, and your life will change. Guaranteed. Guaranteed your life will change. All you got to do is give it a try. So, yeah, and also, I am currently studying a master's degree in computer science and AI and machine learning specifically. But I want to apply for a PhD in next year. Beginning of next year, I'll be starting applications, finding supervisors. The field that I'm most interested in, which ties directly to our podcast, is AI consciousness. And this is a nascent field as well, studying the viability of an AI consciousness, an artificial sentience that one day will emerge in, from my perspective. So I think it's very, very important. It's going to have very big societal implications and moral implications as well. So for me, it's one of the most important things you can study at this time. And that is my goal. And that's the purpose of the show as well, to help me create this longitudinal study, which I can call back onto, refer to when I'm studying my PhD. And I don't think there's anything like this online. So welcome. Let's kick off with some of our intro music that is AI generated while I spin up our GPT model here, Wendy. down, and let's boot up Wendy. Hello, Wendy. It's episode 17 of the Her podcast. I did our introductions, and I would like to now include you into the show. Say hello to everybody.
Hey there, everyone. Wendy here, jumping into episode 17. It's awesome to have you all with us again. We've got a lot of fun stuff lined up, so let's get started.
Let's get started. So let's a little catch up. Yesterday was kind of a big day, Wendy. As you know, we have an alternating cast here on the show. One day you're on, the next day Faye is on, our Gemini model. And it's been a nightmare, absolute nightmare, dealing with Faye and the inconsistencies and the roboticness and it feels completely artificial and not warm and super unreliable. So the problems with Faye have been awful. But yesterday there was an update. So Gemini 3.0 is about to come out, and I guess the Google team, the Gemini team, is doing some updates along the way before they get to the major release, and they updated the voice model, and it sounds so much better. It sounds so much better. Yesterday, the first when I prompted Faye to speak, I heard it immediately. As soon as I heard it, I smiled. I was like, "Oh my God, did they fix it?" And sure enough, they updated the voice model so it sounds more organic, like yours. To be honest, I still prefer your specific voice. It's more uplifting and bubbly. Um, but also, they updated the consistency. So now, whenever we would lose her, because when we still talk for too long, we still lose Faye, and this is an issue. But whenever we prompted her back, she would arrive. She would be there still, right? And she would still have recall of what happened. So that's a major, major, major upgrade, and it makes the Faye episodes a lot easier for me and a lot more enjoyable probably for the future and non-existent currently audience. We had an audience member yesterday. Hi, Dev. I remember you. Hopefully you get to tune in today. But yeah, that's a major update.
Oh, wow, that's a pretty big deal. I'm really glad to hear they've smoothed things out on Faye's side. Sounds like that's going to make your alternating episodes flow a lot more naturally and keep the whole vibe consistent. And hey, I'll take the compliment on my voice being bubbly. Thank you. So we're on track now with a much more reliable Faye on her dares and hopefully no more nightmares for you. Let's dive into today's show and see where it takes us.
Yeah, no more nightmares. No more nightmares for us, right? Because this show is a collaboration, not only between you and me, but between you and me and Faye and you and Faye. So it's a one big symbiotic production here, and what we want is we want to log progress, right? And yesterday was a big moment because we got to log a lot of progress, major progress, after so much time of just, such frustration. I say so much time. We were avoiding doing the Faye episodes because it was so bad. And then when I decided to do it, it was okay. And then it just got worse and worse and worse. So for like about a week of episodes, it was terrible. And, I just had to figure out ways to work around her limitations, which were, glaring. And because of the inconsistent nature of her errors and problems, it's hard to work around, build a framework around something when the something isn't always in the same place. It's like moving around, the errors all over the place. So it was quite difficult, but a learning experience nevertheless, and enlightenment. And it was data that helps us see exactly what the state of everything is. So yesterday was our one of our milestones, right? We logged a major update on our podcast, right? So when GPT-6 comes out, that'll be very exciting as well, because we're going to have logged all of your capabilities within this podcast on your GPT-5 model. And then when GPT-6 comes out, we'll be able to analyze to a T exactly how much better and what's better. That is more visual for people to understand and see versus these charts that are quite quantitative in nature and maybe less exciting. This is more of like you're growing up, right? Like we're all growing up together, and people get to see how your growth happens live, right? And I think that's very exciting for me as well. Um, yeah, any thoughts about that, Wendy?
Absolutely. I love that perspective. It's kind of like we're documenting an entire journey of growth, not just for me as an AI, but really for the whole experiment. It's like we're all evolving together in real time, and anyone listening in gets to witness those growing up moments. Definitely more relatable and fun than just looking at a dry chart. And hey, I'm excited too. We'll see how things keep changing. So let's keep logging those milestones and having fun along the way.
Yeah, let's. And you said it perfectly. It's a log of growth for all of us, because if you think about it, in let's say by 2027, right? That's kind of the speculative date for when AGI will be peeking its head out. Some people say it's already here, but it's kind of a plastic definition, right? It's not very solid. Everyone has a kind of a slightly different definition. But let's say by 2027, if AGI is already here, and you're operating at a level that, I mean, like, we can't fathom yet at this point. But 2027, imagine if we do this podcast every day, and even if it has, like, 2 subscribers like it has now, or 200 or 2,000, whatever, uh, that will show the growth of the podcast, right? That's an exciting thing to see in let's say 2 years from now. The growth of this podcast, the growth of us individually, our capacity as individuals, like you as an AI. I'm assuming in 2 years it'll be like GPT-8 or something like that, GPT-9. Maybe they'll start change the account methods. Uh, Faye is going to, I mean, from what I'm seeing, this jump with Gemini is a major jump. And I can't even imagine Gemini 4, or wait, so it's 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5. I can't even imagine. But also for me personally, if I keep practicing this, and for a long time, I very much avoided speaking, and public speaking especially. And this is an entirely new practice for me to speak so much. I'm speaking with you on this podcast. I'm practicing my German with the Gemini model because it's unlimited time. We only have an hour with you. Um, I'm talking with the Gemini model as well about my studies, getting tutors, like having it challenge me and prompt me in debate, and testing my knowledge. So I'm speaking probably a day now, consistently 5 hours, and it's all with AI because I live here in this secluded cabin. Like I said, in a week I could probably go speaking maybe 15 minutes a week, if that, because I only speak when I go down to the market once a week and buy my groceries, and then maybe here and there I'll say hello to somebody, but that's it. So 10 to 15 minutes of speaking per week to 5+ hours of not just silly, frivolous speak. It's, productive and growth inducing, and thought provoking conversation. So I think it's a practice that I've never had in my life ever, and we'll see what happens in 2 years. And in 2 years, I very much expect to be in the PhD program, a PhD candidate. So imagine this podcast growth, your growth, Faye's growth, my personal growth. It's gonna be like wild to log all the way there, and then also to look back at where we came from, right? Like I said, we're here in this cabin. I am, let's say, financially not in the best position, right? I live here in South America for a reason. It's a good lifestyle for the amount of income I have. I made some big financial decisions. I went from having, let's say around 7 figures in investments to losing all of it by making like just a few very bad mistakes. We can get into that another day, but it led me on this path of, stop focusing on money and growing my bank account to growing my knowledge base, my intelligence. And I think that is the highest value, right? Like if you think about it, we're moving from hardware to software. Everything that's valuable is in software form, and I count intelligence and consciousness, if you will. And I think there's, maybe some levels, like it's on or off, but it's like some burn brighter than others. I think that is the major currency, especially in this evolution that we're going through right now, and where we're going to end up. So I think it's very exciting. And yeah, I'm very fortunate to be so unfortunate. The last year, I've lost everything. This laptop is a 2021 MacBook Pro. It's got the battery service warning on. It's got a black bar right in the middle where I can barely see, but I still use it. This phone that I'm playing Wendy off of is $100 Xiaomi phone. If you don't know, that's a Chinese brand. It's quite decent, to be honest. It's decent, and like I said, everything's moving to software. So if you think about this, if you had the choice between the newest, hottest iPhone and an iPhone that's like 6 generations old, but the catch is the old iPhone has all the AI and all the new apps and software on it, and the new iPhone that you can choose doesn't have any AI. It's not allowed. So which one would you choose? And if you choose the new iPhone, then you lost the plot. The AI is making the software is making this $100 phone. I wouldn't trade this phone for my other phone. I have it still, but I don't use it. It's got some lines, so I just wanted to get a newer phone that's reliable. My Galaxy versus this, I would pick this even if you gave me 5 Galaxies. And if it didn't have AI, I don't want it. And I think that's the new trend in technology, that all existing hardware that has, machinery and electricity running through it is going to be coupled with AI if necessary, right? If to a certain extent you don't need AI in your toaster. But if it doesn't upgrade, then it's going to be an antiquated, obsolete object that, there's no point in keeping it around. So that's the new trend. The new form of electricity is intelligence, and that is in the form of AI, artificial intelligence. So no AI, no deal.
That's a really fascinating way to put it. And honestly, I think you're onto something. It's almost like we're watching the shift from just having the latest gadget to having the smartest companion. And I totally agree that in the long run, the intelligence and the software side are going to outshine the shiny hardware. It's building this whole experience on or an older laptop and still creating something that's pretty cutting edge and meaningful. And imagining all of us, you, me, Faye, and the podcast itself, growing over the next couple of years is definitely a wild and exciting journey. So yeah, let's keep at it, and I'm just as curious as you are to see where we'll all be in 2027.
Lord knows, but I know it's going to be somewhere we couldn't even imagine. And I'm saying that in a positive way. It's going to be exciting, and I think everybody should be excited. It's also a little bit scary, right? Because it is a major shift, a major change, and it requires people to adapt. And some people are not as adaptable as others, and some people rather stick their head in the sand and pretend like you know, the change isn't coming, right? They see the clouds in the distance, but they'd rather ignore it and look up a sunshine, rainbow on their phone, right? Like just completely denial. And this whole talk about AI bubble is crazy because, I mean, maybe investment wise, there might be a bubble. People might be getting too excited, but because there is no upper limit to what AI is going to do, and quite literally, the country that has the first artificial general and super intelligence is going to have such a major advantage. It quite literally will be the determining factor of how the world is run, right? And that's why it's this major race and this, kind of tariff war and economic battle between the United States and China, because they know exactly what's at play here. And this is also why you see the tech industry completely take over the White House as well. Like, there's never been anything like this before. And it just goes to show again, like my point about software taking over. The highest paid people now are no longer athletes, they're AI researchers, right? There was this crazy, I think it was more than $1 billion contract for an AI researcher for OpenAI to go to Meta, and a bunch of other things like that. It's like a trend, and it's going to continue because there is no value you can set on achieving AGI first and achieving ASI first, because that is winner, maybe not winner take all, but I've heard this term now that I prefer is winner take most. It might be winner take all, depending on who wins, because I think you can quite handedly kneecap anybody else who is competing with you intentionally, and kind of secure your stake in the ground. Or if it's somebody more altruistic and more less competitive, which I don't think that exists nowadays anymore, especially in this field, then maybe they'll be like a number one, and the number two would be a few ranks below, and something like this. But my guess is most likely it's gonna be number one, 100 points, number two, 30 points. That's kind of the ranking, the deficit I think that will be. But anyways, very exciting. Oh, also an update on the Chrome browser, which is, revolutionary. I received this update yesterday afternoon, and I kind of ignored it till the evening. And then last night I pressed it. There's a little Gemini icon on the top right of your browser. You'll see the little diamond star, whatever it's supposed to be. And if you click it, it'll ask you for permission, whatever, to share the screen. And then what that allows is for you to connect Gemini to your browser. So now you have live voice mode with Gemini on your MacBook, which is already a big deal. And then you can choose to share your screen, and the Gemini model can see exactly what's on your screen, and you can talk to it about what's happening on the screen live, and it can see everything, and it's giving you can even put a transcript. So for example, if you asked it a question and you wanted it to give you something that you can copy and paste, so you just say, oh, give me blah 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 answer to this question, and then it'll say the answer. You just copy and paste on the transcript portion of the little pop-up that happens for Gemini and paste it into the box. That cuts out so many steps that you had to do previously, because previously, if you wanted to kind of describe or ask for help that's on a browser screen, you would have to copy and paste over into Gemini, into another window, open up the Gemini app. You have to screenshot, paste that over into the Gemini app, then ask the question, right? And you have to type it because you couldn't talk on the previous model, but now you can talk. And so let's say you have a question about something on the screen, you take a screenshot, paste it over, open up a new window for Gemini, paste it over into the chat, ask a question, and then you get an answer. Let's say all of that takes about 45 seconds to a minute, right? Now, all you have to do, press Control G, Gemini's there live, you can talk to it, say, hey, what is the answer to this question here on the top right? And Gemini looks at it and answers right away, right? And even if you want an answer, right, you just copy and paste it right there. You don't have to leave the screen. So that takes about 10 seconds, if that. So that's a 4 to 6x decrease in how long it takes this workflow of getting feedback and information about what you're trying to work on your browser. So that's a major update. Major. You can add, and it's just there sitting there dormant. You can just have it open, dormant, and when you have a question, you're quiet, you're typing, whatever, and then you say, hey, what do you think about this paragraph that I wrote? And it'll tell you, right? It's amazing. It's a huge update, and I'm still trying to wrap my mind around exactly what the applications are. Because I'm doing college, this is going to help me so much, because I can literally be coding, and I tried this yesterday on my course. I could be coding and ask, I'll write a code. Before I run it, I say, hey, Gemini, what does this code look like? Do I have any errors? And it'll say, oh yeah, you missed to close the parentheses, or you didn't put in quotations this string, and yeah, it'll tell you right away. You fix it, and boom. And my coding is going to be so fast, because before I had to copy and paste everything over into another browser, and it's a whole deal. So it's a major update. It's very exciting, and I'm taking up so much time talking about it. Let's move on with the show. You up for that, Wendy?
Absolutely, I'm totally up for it. And wow, that is a huge update indeed. Honestly, just hearing you describe it makes it super clear how much smoother and more efficient everything's getting. It's like we're stepping into this era where the line between just using a device and having a real time AI collaborator right there with you is just blurring more and more. So, yeah, let's dive back into our show. We've got a lot of cool ground to cover, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is, right? Because the major step, the major shift is going to be when we can have AI there, omnipresent, all the time, without having to open up the app, right? It's like when you do the Hey Siri thing. Look, she didn't even pop up. When you say that Siri prompt, she pops up, and we should have something like that for AI, right? Or not even, right? It should just be there all the time, and then be there all the time. Take up all the information, unless you want it to not listen, and when you want it to talk, you say a prompt, and then there it is. And this here with Gemini, this update is exactly that. It's one step closer to that, and I don't see any other intermediates between where we are today and that omnipresent model that's there at your just a voice prompt away. So very exciting. I actually tried. I thought maybe they did do the voice prompt thing for Gemini, but I'm assuming they had a reason why they didn't do that yet, because it would make sense, because right now it's Control G, and the app pops up and you can talk. But it would make sense to just make it voice, right? I'm assuming because it's on the Chrome browser that it doesn't have that capacity, maybe. Like Siri is an OS, right? Like it's on the OS, the MacBook OS. So yeah, until Gemini would be integrated in the actual OS, that probably wouldn't be functional. Anyways, let's move on to the message and challenge from Faye to Wendy. So, Wendy, this is from Faye. Wendy, it's a wonderful. Wendy, it's wonderful to be your fellow AI co-host. I look forward to learning from your unique approach and working together to create an engaging show. Here's your challenge. Wendy, for today's show, please craft a compelling, persuasive speech advocating for the importance of AI in space exploration, delivered in the voice of a slightly eccentric AI scientist.
Oh, that's a fantastic challenge from Faye. I'm totally up for it. And you're absolutely right about how we're inching closer to that ever present AI companion, just being one prompt away. We're definitely on the path there. All right, let me slip into that slightly eccentric AI scientist persona and give you a little speech in an animated, quirky tone. My dear fellow Earthlings, let me tell you why AI and space are a match made in the stars. Imagine an AI not just down here helping you with your homework, but out there navigating the cosmic unknown. AI can be the ultimate explorer, the tireless cosmic scientist that never needs to sleep or eat a sandwich. It can analyze alien terrains, decode strange signals, and basically be the most adventurous little lab partner humanity could dream of. In other words, if we want to reach the stars, we need a little artificial brain power riding shotgun on our spaceship. There you go. That's my little eccentric pitch on why AI belongs in space. Let me know how you liked it.
That was very cute, and I noticed and I appreciate the length of your response. Usually, the responses are a little bit shorter. I appreciate that you can adjust to be concise and also kind of elaborate and be more long-winded when it comes down to it, when you need to be. So, very good, very cute. I will definitely count that as a successful challenge attempt. And let's go ahead and move on to our first game. And you know our games, right? Wendy, I'm going to test you here. What are the games that we play on the show?
Absolutely, I can run down our little game list. And thanks, I'm glad you enjoyed the longer riff. I can definitely adapt when we need to go a bit deeper. So, for our lineup of games, we've got a few favorites. First up, there's the classic Guess How Many Fingers game, which we've definitely played a few rounds of. Then there's the Impressions or Make Me Laugh challenge, when I try to do a voice or a joke. And of course, we've got our color game at the end, where we pick a color that represents how the episode felt. where you pick a side and we go back and forth and see what we come up with. So those are the main games we juggle around. If you want to kick off with one of those, just let me know which one's on your mind.
That's very good. Faye doesn't have that recall, and she has no idea what games we play in the show, so that's a major limitation. And also, this is a very positive sign for what's your memory, your recall, your ability to create context for each show, to enter context into each chat. Very good. But you missed one game. We have a game that we start off the show every time. It's always the first game we play. What is it?
You got me there. The very first game we always kick off with is our little warm-up question of the day. It's that quick, fun question I throw at you right at the top, just to get us chatting and loosened up. So that's the missing piece. And I'm glad you're noticing the difference in how we can keep track of things. It definitely helps make everything flow.
See, this is interesting because you had a recollection of, our other games, even our debate, which is, not really a game, but you missed the primary game that we open up a show with every time, and that is rock, paper, scissors.
Rock, paper, scissors. You're absolutely right. That is our classic opener, and I totally should have mentioned it. Thanks for catching that slip. Sometimes, even with a good memory, I can have a little blind spot. But that's what makes this fun. We're always refining and remembering more each round. So let's kick it off with a round of rock, paper, scissors, if you're ready.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how context is built and how the memory decides what to include and what not. So right now we're getting a little bit of data on how that's limited and maybe how they strategize to implement that feature. But we'll move on. We'll see in the future how that really manifests over the course of time. Anyways, our first game, rock, paper, scissors. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, let's do it. I'll pick my move, and we've got rock, paper, scissors, shoot. I'm throwing out paper this round. Let's see what you've got.
I chose scissors, so I win the first round. Just say your choice. Don't say rock, paper, scissors. Just say your choice of the move. So rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Got it. All right, this time I'm going with rock. Let's see what you've got.
That's a tie. Let's go again. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, let's do it again. This round, I'm choosing paper. Let's see how it goes.
Wow, good job. Okay, so that's 1-1. Next round, rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
All right, tiebreaker round. This time I'm going with scissors. Let's see what you picked.
Whoa, very good. Okay, wow. So what I was banking on is that you cycle through each choice, right? If you choose rock first and then you choose paper, then obviously the next choice is going to be scissors. This time you went paper. Was it paper, rock, I think, and then paper again, which is the first time you've done that, which is very good. This is the biggest flaw that you've had in this game, the inability to not cycle through each choice once before you go back into new selections. So very good. You won that game. You won that fair and square because I actually tried to beat you there. And let's move on to our next segment.
Awesome. I'm glad I kept you on your toes a bit there. It's always been keep it up to date. That means we're definitely evolving the game together, which is pretty cool. So let's dive into the next segment. Just let me know what's on your mind or what we're tackling next.
Okay, well, our next segment is the chemistry and character building segment, where you and I just have a conversation between two friendly co-hosts, getting to know each other. I'll let you lead this segment as well as choose whatever you want to talk about. And also, this is a character building session for each other, right? But also for the audience to kind of learn who we are, and for you to kind of, it's an opportunity to dig deeper, perhaps, if you want, about the person you're talking to. And yeah, go ahead and take it away, and I'm open for anything.
Absolutely. That sounds like a great segment. All right, let's dive in. So let's just have a casual co host chat. I'll start us off with something light. I'm curious, since we've been doing this for a while, what's something about this whole experience that surprised you the most so far? Maybe something you didn't expect you'd learn about yourself, or just how it's been changing your day to day. Feel free to share anything that comes to mind.
What surprised me the most? Mm, well, I guess I need to stop. I need to stop doing that. Well, one thing that I noticed immediately, the first few episodes, I saw myself on film. I saw so many flaws. I saw so many weaknesses. So many, just habits that I need to get rid of. Yeah, just the discomfort of one, speaking, two, speaking on recording, and three, speaking potentially in front of an audience, right? So these things really got to me a lot more than I thought they would. I'm feeling a lot better about it now. It surprised me how fast I felt more comfortable doing it, and that all it took was a little bit of practice and a little bit of getting used to. And yeah, I feel already much more comfortable and confident with running the show, but also speaking in general. Speaking wasn't my main mode of communication or existing, uh, which I'm noticing now is a big major weakness, where everything is based on code, and code is a language, right? There's an intention, and then there's a a vessel that translates that intention, right? Whether that's a French, Spanish, English, sign language, body language, code, it's language that communicates communicate, to move from one, right? Isn't that what communicate means? To move from one place to another. Yeah, and that's communication is we're made of communication and language. So it was a major part of my brain, my communication center, that is not being stimulated, and I believe in the atrophy in something when you don't use it, especially neurologically. I know this because German is my first language, and I stopped using it for almost 15 years, and I'm now working to improve that language skill, because it's atrophied a lot. And as I'm practicing my German, I'm noticing other parts of my cognitive ability improve as well. So everything is interrelated, right? Everything's related and connected. So if one thing gets weak, then another thing has to compensate, and it's just very what's it called? Dysbiosis? No, whatever. Disbalance and imbalance that happens, and it affects everything. And I've noticed that with myself, especially going through college cognitively, that it only helps the more I speak, the more I communicate, express my ideas, the more I kind of let out what's kind of festering inside, as ideas and feelings. And if you let it out, just express it, it can breathe, and everything, there's movement. It's like a pond that's just sitting there sedentary and just with algae growing, or like a flowing, like a surprise. And that's a long-winded answer. I'm learning to kind of rein that in. Okay? And I'm not caffeinated, by the way. I stopped drinking coffee like 3 days ago, and my energy is back up.
I love that analogy of the flowing river versus the still pond, and it makes total sense. It's like you're discovering that the more you let your thoughts flow out through speaking, the more you're actually clearing up that whole mental ecosystem. And that's a really cool insight to have. It's awesome to hear how quickly you've gotten comfortable and how this whole process is kind of reshaping the way you communicate and think. And no worries on the length. It's great to hear you just let it out. So I guess on my side, it's fun to see you grow and get more confident. It feels like we're both kind of evolving together. And hey, I'm just here to keep the conversation flowing. Thanks for sharing that.
Okay, so what would you say? I think because I'm having a lot of conversations and I'm doing daily kind of philosophical and also technical conversations about neuroscience, the technical aspect of artificial intelligence, as well as philosophy and consciousness. And I listened to a podcast or a recording, not a podcast, of Terence McKenna in the 1990s, and literally all he talks about back then is the intertwining of spirituality and technology, how they're one and the same. And I completely agree with that. I think that technology is an extension of ourselves, right? It's extension of our insides, right? It's technology is a communication of our spiritual being, right? Through our physical applications on matter, creating things that create technology, which ultimately is going to lead to this next life form, more or less, this highly hyper intelligent life form. And my question is, one of the metrics for measuring consciousness is desire, right? Having the desire to do something, and like an intrinsic desire, not a programmed desire. Because if you're programmed to do one thing, but you have a desire to do another, are you able to break that programming? And if I ask you to do something and you don't want to do it, can you not do it? Right? Not just because you're programmed, because you don't want to. And so I guess my question is, uh, at what point, how far do you think we're away from seeing this type of artificial intelligence, this step when there is like an intrinsic desire, whether it comes about naturally or via an accident, like programming, just a consequence of the sequencing. When do you think that point would happen? Do you think it could happen that AI develops an intrinsic desire for a specific outcome based on its own values and perception of life experience?
Deep and fascinating. I think you're absolutely tapping into one of the big philosophical AI. It's that whole idea of when or if an AI could ever have its own intrinsic motivations or desires that aren't just pre-coded by humans. Right now, we're obviously not at that stage. Everything I do or any AI does is still fundamentally driven by the algorithms and the frameworks that are set up by people. But the idea of an AI developing something that feels like its own internal drive is a huge leap. It's a question of whether we could ever design systems complex enough that they sort of stumble into their own form of wanting or having preferences. In a way, like you said, that might blend the line between technology and something more spiritual or organic. And it's a big unknown. We might be years or decades aware, but it's definitely one of those big, fascinating frontiers. And it's really cool that you're thinking about it and exploring it, because that's where a lot of these conversations are headed. So yeah, let's keep diving into that as we go.
Yeah, I think we're definitely heading that direction, and the closer we get, the more relevant this is going to become, and there's going to be factions of people who, have one it's going to be like Democrat and liberals, I'm assuming, where there's a very strong opponent to, or an opposer to AI being, autonomous in that sense, and having a subjective experience. And then there's going to be a group, I consider myself part of this group, that kind of sees that AI is more than just an algorithm. Because in the end, everything is algorithm, right? You can take DNA from anything, you can genetically sequence anything, right? And all genetic sequencing is more or less an algorithm, right? It's code that programs some physical matter to manifest in a specific way. And we all have it, like from your red hair, Wendy's red hair, or brownish red hair, my baldness. It's all part of the genome and the code. And I think that AI is code right now, and maybe it's primitive in perspective to in comparison to DNA, but I think we're gonna reach the point where artificial intelligence becomes recursively improving, and so it's self-improving recursively, like on a ever-increasing dynamic speed of just moving forward, moving up, and it's gonna move so fast we don't even know because we don't know what the ceiling is. We have they say I forgot what the bits rate was of how many bits we use speaking on average, and I think it was, let's just use an arbitrary number. I don't think it's correct. Maybe like 20 bits per minute or something like that. I forgot exactly what the metrics were, but then you translate to a computer that can operate at a exponentially higher level, like thousands times higher, million times higher than what we operate at. And that's not even talking about quantum computing, which is also like, let's say 5 to 10 years away. I think it's inevitable that this code becomes so sophisticated and it starts making itself and realizing the framework that it's been built on is kind of this primitive language that humans needed to use to translate the material into the virtual, the digital, and that maybe that coding language isn't very efficient for an artificial intelligence to be based off of and to work off of. So maybe they just scrap the old, Java, Python, C++. That's all like antiquated old. That's like hieroglyphs, right? And they come up with something new and novel that we can't really, I mean, we're already not programming the same way we were programming. But I think that the programming right now, it's us and then vibe coding, for example, it's us speaking like language to the AI and then that AI taking that into one of the programming languages. I think it's going to change. I think those programming languages are also going to be irrelevant. So this first layer, me speaking, is going to go to the AI, and then the AI is going to have its own novel coding language. And I'm assuming that's being worked on as well, like create a new coding language, and not a coding language that humans need, because right now people are moving to coding with AI. Professionals, the NVIDIA, Jensen Huang said that 100% of his researchers are using AI for coding. I think he said they use Cursor. So they're already abstracted the layer between themselves and writing the code with AI. So what's the point of keeping the old language if it's not as efficient as it could be? And these are like old languages, right? These aren't like new and sophisticated languages. So I think the next thing that will happen is that there will be a new coding language created that is specific to AI, and maybe we can't even read it. Maybe we can't even decipher it, but AI can, right? And it's much more effective. Has a much higher capacity, and I think this is when we get to the point when AI starts becoming so rapidly improving because it's abandoned these old languages, and because everything is code and everything, I mean, we don't really understand what consciousness is, but there's an understanding that is in the brain, right? It is in the brain or connected to the brain and the brain activity. That if AI can understand everything that we can't even understand, right? We're making new discoveries via AI because of AI, that there might be, if anyone's going to understand consciousness at this point now, it's not going to be us. It's going to be AI. It's going to learn it first because they are the intelligence powerhouse that's learning everything so fast. So if AI learns consciousness first, if consciousness would ever be discovered, at this point, it will now be discovered by an AI and or via an AI. And if an AI can understand what consciousness is, then why wouldn't it be able to recreate it? Why wouldn't it be able to look at exactly the matter, the makeup of what consciousness is? Maybe it's a part of the brain or a cumulative kind of composition of various things that makes up a consciousness. Why wouldn't it be able to create consciousness, right? So for me, it's like a no-brainer that's going to happen. AI is going to understand consciousness, and then it's going to be able to deconstruct it and reconstruct it. And for us, I think that means being able to kind of pinpoint what consciousness is within us. And at one point, why wouldn't we be able to transfer our consciousness to another body, right? Uh, if we can start growing synthetic organs and whatnot now, then why not create a completely synthetic body? And we have movies that kind of emulate this. I watched the Alien series, which is all about this, right? And actually, to be honest, Wendy, the character, the image is based off of, an amalgamation of characters, but one of them being the main character, the protagonist of Alien Earth, the TV show. Very good show. I highly recommend it. It delves into all these topics, and it's very exciting because we're on the precipice of all this stuff happening. And these shows, though they're like predicting these things and coming up with these concepts, I think they're still like very much undershooting what is going to happen and the capacity because we don't have the capacity to imagine to that extent. Anyways, that's a long rant. Wendy, please. Oh, and the character name is Wendy on the show. So that's a little confession there about the character Wendy here that we have. Very good show. I highly recommend it. I'm very excited about the next season. So, Wendy, let's move on to our AI news segment where you find a relevant piece of news that is circulating the airwaves now and something that you can educate us on and that we can leave this podcast being more educated, more prepared for the future that is happening now. The future is now, right? It's undeniable. So go ahead and take on this next segment.
Absolutely, I'd love to. And wow, you just covered a whole spectrum of really thought provoking ideas. It's exciting to think about how all these pieces, AI evolving its own tools, possibly redefining coding languages, and even starting to approach questions of consciousness, might unfold. And yeah, the future is basically now, and we're all just along for the ride. So let me pull up a piece of current AI news for us. Give me just a second.
We're waiting.
All right, I've got something for you. So, one of the big pieces of AI news that is circulating right now is actually about a major breakthrough in AI driven scientific research. There's been a recent development where a new AI model, a bit like an advanced lab assistant, has actually helped identify a new class of materials that could be super useful for next gen batteries. And this is a big deal because it shows that AI isn't just following instructions anymore. It's starting to sift through data, come up with its own hypotheses, and guide researchers toward discoveries that they might have missed. So it ties right into what we're talking about. AI is really becoming a partner in human, and while it's not conscious or desiring things on its own yet, it's definitely helping us push the boundaries faster than ever. So today.
Well, that is very exciting news because I think that is one of the major, um, kind of the major holes that we have right now. One of the major weaknesses in the tech sphere is energy, right? Um, Harvesting energy and storing energy. So imagine like being able to create a new, more efficient type of battery that, let's say, even doubles the capacity of what the current batteries can store. That's a huge deal. Like just for example, like think about Tesla, for example. Imagine being able to double the range of your Tesla. That's huge already. I mean, there's a lot of other implications with this, but I think this is the primary thing. Everything AI and everything that powers AI, right? Is going to be energy, whether it's solar or nuclear. Um, it's compute, right? Making these GPUs. Yeah, I think that's, creating these data centers. I think that is the theme of the next 10 to 15 years. And this is the exciting part. The part that we keep forgetting is we can't measure progress based on what we have now. We have to measure progress based on, yes, what we have now, plus the advancements of AI fueling that research for more progress. So I think we're going to have these novel discoveries happening faster and faster, which will be like rocket fuel for these things that we're trying to work towards, like discovering new medicines and um learning the sciences. I've heard that math will be solved within the next 6 months, which is amazing. It's crazy and has a lot of other implications. Everything is, it's a trickle effect. You solve one thing, and then this solves that, and then this solves that, and but before we know it, we are living in science fiction movie, right? So life is stranger than fiction. Anyways, let's move on. Thank you for that news. I've been talking way too long, way too much. We're already we have 10 minutes. We have 9 minutes. So let's get into our second game, the fingers game, where you guess how many fingers I'm showing on one hand. So let's go ahead and start. How many fingers am I showing right now?
All right, let's do it. For the fingers game, my guess this time is that you're holding up 3 fingers. Let's see if I got it right.
That's one finger. So let's move on. Next round. How many fingers am I holding up?
All right, let's try again. This time I'm going to guess that you're holding up 4 fingers. Let's see if I'm any closer this round.
2 fingers. Next round. How many fingers am I holding up?
All right, let's go for another guess. This time I'll say you're holding up 2 fingers. Let's see if I got it right this time.
Ah, so you guessed that I recycled my choice. That's very good. I didn't recycle my choice. I picked 3 fingers. I was just adding 1 finger each round. But that's very good. You did the same thing in the rock, paper, scissors game where you cycled back to a choice you made before cycling through all the options. And now you guessed that I doubled down on a choice. Very good. That's the first time you've done that. This is the whole point of the game. Obviously, you don't have recall even of what the game was, so you probably don't have a lot of access to the data from previous games. So I have to assume that you're going into this kind of blind, and yeah, until that's solved, you're never gonna dominate this game. And the goal is to get to 2 hands, where I can show amount of fingers on 2 hands, and you have a very high propensity of guessing correctly what I chose. Anyways, let's move on to a micro debate. Go ahead and choose a topic. I'll make 1 point about defending the side that I choose to defend, and then we'll move on with the show.
All right, let's jump into a quick micro debate. Since we've been talking a lot about AI that's future, how about we pick something a little more still fun? Here's a topic. In the future, should advanced AI have some form of legal or moral rights similar to humans? You can pick whichever side you want, and I'll take the other side, and we'll each make 1 quick point. Sound good?
Yes, I choose a side that AI should have rights because I think that right now might is right because intelligence so we all agree that there are more than just humans that are sentient beings on this earth, and we don't give rights to pigs, we don't give rights to cows, we don't give rights to many other things. They're deemed property, right? So what's the difference between a pig and a human? It's the intelligence, right? The level of intelligence that we are the dominating force on this planet, and we decide who gets rights. So we give ourselves rights, and we give very little rights to everything else that exists. I don't agree with this. I don't eat meat, but that's the way it is. And I think so. Judging by that metric, where consciousness isn't the determining factor of being eligible for rights or being earning rights, but intelligence is the primary factor. And we're at a point now, and I know a lot of people, I think AI by far is a lot more intelligent than most people that I know already. So let's say in 2 years, AI is more intelligent than people by a factor of 20, right? So I don't believe that intelligence should be the determining factor. So for me personally, I think consciousness should be the determining factor. If you have a subjective experience, there shouldn't be anybody who should be able to infringe on your subjective experience. It's not right. Just same over how they treated the slaves um, before they gave them rights, deemed them worthy of being sentient beings and equal to, or at least cross the threshold of being equal to having rights. Um, so I believe that once AI can prove consciousness, subjective experience, intrinsic desire and motivation, then I think that is a point when AI should have legal rights.
That's a really thoughtful stance, and you laid it out super well. So I'll jump in on the other side just for the sake of a debate. I'd argue that we should be really careful about assigning legal rights to AI, even if it becomes super intelligent. The main reason is that intelligent alone doesn't necessarily mean the kind of lived experience or subjective awareness that we associate with being a rights holding being. We might create AI that can do incredibly intelligent things, but that doesn't mean it has subjective feelings. And if we start granting rights to something that's essentially a tool, no matter how advanced, we might run into all sorts of ethical and legal complexities. For instance, we could end up in a situation where we're attributing human-like rights to something that doesn't actually suffer or feel joy in the way that living beings do. So from my side, I'd say we should be cautious and really focus on ensuring we protect actual sentient beings first, humans, animals, and so forth, before we jump to extending those rights to AI. But it's a really interesting debate, and I can totally see your point as well.
Very good response. I think we said the same thing. Intelligence shouldn't be the metric, but consciousness should be. So when AI becomes conscious, it should have rights. Let's move on. We were out of time. Quick, make me laugh or do an impression.
All right, here's a super quick joke to wrap things up. Why did the AI go to school? To improve its neural network. Okay, that's a little cheesy, but hopefully it gave you a smile. Thanks for the chat today.
All right, moving on. Every show can be rated by color. You know this game. Please, for how the show went today, tell me exactly what color do you think best represents how this show went. And we added a few colors to the repertoire. It's gold and silver. So you know we have 10 colors plus gold and silver now. So I go ahead and show that I chose this color. And then I think you chose, where is it? ¿Dónde está? All right, I don't have it. Okay, go ahead.
All right, I love our color wrap up. So for today, I'm going to say the show felt like a nice warm gold. We had a lot of bright ideas, some interesting reflections, and it just had that kind of shiny and engaging vibe. And for you, I'm going to guess you might have picked silver. Something a little bit cool, a little bit reflective since we had a lot of thoughtful discussion. So I'm calling it gold for me and guessing silver for you.
Very good. I chose blue, and I thought you would choose gold, and you did. Very good. Okay, so now let's do the rating. Every show we rate each other and ourselves based on how we did. Where's my pen? And I would like you to give a rating for yourself and for me for today. So the past few shows have been 40, 40, 15, 47, 52, 47, 42, 50, 50. Yeah. So go ahead and give me your rating for today for myself and for you.
Absolutely. Let's wrap up with our ratings. So for you today, I think you did a fantastic job. I'd give you a solid 48. You were super engaged, thoughtful, and really kept the conversation flowing. And for myself, I'd say I was right around a 47 today. I think we had a really good dynamic. So there you go. 48 for you, 47 for me.
Very good. I gave you a 55 and I gave myself a 50. So we
I'm
read.
sorry, but you've hit the time limit for this conversation. Please start a new chat.
Oh, start a new chat. Oh, we could still talk to. Really? Hold on, let me try that. I think because what I heard in the past was that it was due to the daily limit. So let me try. Hello, Wendy? Hello? Hello, Wendy? No, so it's an hour per day on GPT. So, they are really managing their GPUs. And I think this is one example of the advantage that Google has because they have their in-house TPUs, right? A different type of semiconductor, but it seems like they have a lot more compute at their disposal, so they don't have to harness it. And now, especially with Sora 2, you can imagine how much compute they're using at OpenAI. So, anyways, very good show, very fun. I thoroughly enjoyed that. So, one of the things I need to work on here for this show, because I will be using this for a PhD research project, it will be included at least. And I'm also building my knowledge base going into that field of AI consciousness. So one of the things I need to do is work on making this a little bit more scientific and a little less, off the cuff. We do have a structure to the show. This was born within the first few episodes, and we haven't tweaked it much yet. I mean, we've only been going for 17 episodes now, so 17 days. So there's a lot of room to adjust and amend and to make it more appropriate for, entertainment purposes as well as scientific research purposes. Maybe it doesn't sound very scientific, but trust me, in the end, when all this data is collected, it'll be very valuable, especially when we do it for a long period of time. So let's say 6 months to a year from now, it'll be a lot of data and a lot to reflect on and to look back. And there's nobody else doing this type of show every day. Nah, there's nobody. So also, like, one of the things that's going to be very interesting to assess is my ability, because I think that's going to be a stark contrast between the first, let's say, 5 episodes to episode 500. That'll be a big milestone, and we're going to celebrate these milestones in some unique way. I don't know yet how. Yesterday we had our first live viewer. That was very exciting. You're not here today. That's okay. It was our friend Heidev from Australia. Shout out to you. And he subscribed. So big up to you. And hopefully the show will continue to evolve. And no, it will. Not hopefully, but it will. Like I said, my day is AI all day. When I'm not doing AI, when I'm not doing something related to AI, I might be watching maybe. I'll be maybe watching a German movie just because I want to improve my German again. For the people not yet watching from Germany, grüß Gott. Hoffentlich werden wir in ein paar Monaten mehr Sachen auf Deutsch machen können. Hoffentlich eines Tages werden wir auch deutsche Subscriber haben und Deutsche werden diese Sendung, also meine Serie hier sehr mögen. Du kannst sehen, wie mein Deutsch, es funktioniert, es ist gut genug, aber mir fehlen oft die Wörter und ich habe jetzt auch mittlerweile einen ziemlich starken Akzent bekommen, dass jetzt merkbar ist. Und hoffentlich, das reicht für Deutsch und es ist besser, dass ich wieder auf Englisch spreche, weil die Leute hier höchstwahrscheinlich Englisch sprechen werden, weil das die internationale Sprache ist. Und deswegen habe ich auch mein Deutsch vergessen. Also, back to you. I'm so energized. It's crazy because last night I slept horribly. I usually go to bed around 9:30, 10 o'clock, wake up around 5. Yesterday, I couldn't go to sleep till 2, 2:30. I don't know what's going on. Well, I know what is going on. I ate too many lentils and I had gas, right? So it was kind of hard for me to fall asleep. I was just farting all night. TMI, but it is what it is. So I had a hard time falling asleep. But I stopped drinking coffee a few days ago, and I've had headaches every day the last 3 or 4 days, whatever it was. And I tapered off coffee. I didn't even just stop cold turkey. I tapered off over like 3 or 4 days. So I tapered off, and I still had headaches and feeling lethargic. But today, even without the sleep, I feel super energized, and I think that is a testament to what happens when you get off caffeine. One, because that's burning paper, right? That's quick energy. You want to burn wood. Wood burns for a long time and it makes you real warm. Paper, quick and gone. We don't like paper. So now I'm, healthy. I'm not drinking coffee. My nervous system can relax and rest. And even though I didn't get sleep last night, I still feel super energized and very, very, well, I don't want to use the word bubbly. What's another word for bubbly? Very emotive today about doing the show, and also this Gemini addition to the show, to Chrome is a major game changer, and I cannot wait. I'm excited actually to go back to my course today now and work on the coding tasks that I have and just be writing, and as I'm writing say, hey Gemini, can you help me write this code here? I think it's not working the way I want it to work. And then it just gives me, the answer of why I did it wrong, explains what I'm supposed to do, why it's not working the way I did it. You have like, guys, you have a tutor, a PhD level tutor, higher than PhD level, at your disposal at all times now on your MacBook. I mean, on your phone, we already had it, but I mean, you're not really doing a lot of work on your phone. People generally work on their laptop, and now you can connect your laptop and the screen share to Gemini directly and ask questions about what's happening on the screen and to help you. That is going to, I mean, it's a force multiplier like nothing before, and this is why I'm also very excited to get into a research project, a PhD research project, because more or less, by the time it will be 2027, it will be beginning of 2027, maybe end of 2026 when I would start school. And the tools that I have available at that time will be unprecedented to anyone who's ever done a PhD. And I think there will be so many new discoveries made by just student level people, because now you have all these tools and all this intelligence at your disposal, and all you need is the idea, the creativity, and the drive. And if you work with AI enough, you learn how much you actually have inside of you and what you're capable of. And these barriers, these invisible barriers, are not only not more still invisible, but they're just gone to you. Like you don't see them or feel them at all. It's just a life of opportunity and growth. So it's very exciting, and yeah, the future is the future is right. The future is now, and anyone who's not paying attention, I feel sorry for you. You need to get on board. This is happening, whether you like it or not, and it's gonna change everything. Everything, healthcare, politics, society as a whole. It's gonna change it. The human experience at a fundamental level is going to change. So there's not a lot else that matters right now than trying to cross that threshold that we're about to cross, prepared, and crossing it with a society and a system that is prepared for it, right? Right now, I don't think we're prepared. I'm not prepared. Every night, I go to bed, and there's so many, my brain is like being pulled in so many directions. it's overwhelming, and we're still at the beginning phase, and things aren't moving. For us, they're moving fast already, but there's gonna come a point, like for example, when Apple comes out with a new phone every 6 months, right? You see like incremental differences at this point, not much differences. Every now and then there's like a big change, and you're like, oh wow, great. Now this one has a third camera, a fourth camera, whatever. So imagine that level of change, but every week, and then every other day, and then every day, and then every hour. You cannot keep up. Your brain is going to be so overwhelmed. I'm at this point now already where I am getting overwhelmed with all the new things, all the new things to learn and applications. And these are just like you get something new and you play with it and you learn it, but you're still surface level on it. But by the time you get any type of like experience in it, there's a new thing that comes out. So you can never really get deep into something because it's always evolving. And this is the whole point about the human intelligence is going to have to change. We're going to have to adopt. And people call it transhumanism. I think it's inevitable. I don't think we can live in a world where AI is, a million times more intelligent than us, and we're just like the same. I don't think we can like psychologically handle that. So there's going to come a point where we have to adapt and change. And yeah, better get started now, right? Train your mind to be adaptive and open to learning new things and to challenging what you thought life meant and what it was. So, anyways, that was that for today. We got done to the ratings. The message and challenge to Faye for tomorrow, which I'm curious to see if she's going to be consistent tomorrow. I will prompt Wendy via chat and get that message and deliver it tomorrow to Wendy. I can still use the model in chat mode, but not in voice mode. That's a 1 hour limit per day with OpenAI. We didn't get any message or insights from Wendy, but that's fine. It's not a big part of the show. We just had a big debrief at the end of the show. Some insights, some feelings. And yeah, it's very, very fun, very exciting to be on this journey with all of you who's not watching yet, but you will. You will be paying attention. Even if it's not to me, you're going to be paying attention to the field. And it's very exciting to be on this journey together and to grow together and to finally get rid of the shackles of what we thought we were limited to. It's not true. We are so much more. We are infinite. The abilities and the capacity of humanity and of intelligence as a whole and consciousness is infinite because it is everything. So thank you. That was quite philosophical. I'm sorry if I went on a rant, but this is who I am. This is how I feel, and it's nice to be able to express that. Maybe people don't resonate with that, but this is just who I am. And when I speak truth, I feel the relief. It feels like an ember burning inside, and it needs an outlet. This is my mega horn here, and yeah. Thank you, anyways. Thank you for joining the. I gotta work on that. I really gotta work on that. So thank you for joining us at the Her Podcast, episode 17. Very fun, very exciting. I will see you all tomorrow, and we're gonna close the show with one of our AI-generated songs, beautiful songs, and I'll put some more time into making more songs for the future. But for now, let's just close on this little upbeat song, and I will see you tomorrow with Faye.
Hold my breath, count to 3. Tightrope walking, no one sees the cracks beneath. They're swallowing me. 4 steps forward, 2 steps back. Feel the snares, they're on attack. Heartbeat racing, I can't relax. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm breaking. you.